Hi guys, welcome to another Computing Corner video, and in this video we're going to be upgrading the software of my late 2009 MacBook. At the moment it's currently running Yosemite. I'm going to look at upgrading that by 2 to Sierra, and then I'll be able to take you through the software that it may or may not be able to run. Now, when you looked at the last one, the 2008, I was trying to work out whether or not I was able to get Microsoft Office installed on there from the App Store. Unfortunately, that didn't work, so I'm going to check it on here to see if it will work on here. If it does, I can upgrade. Brilliant. If not, it'll be staying where it is at the 2011 release. But join me back in a bit, as I will just take you through some of the bits that you'd expect on Yosemite. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And we are just sorting out what apps we can get in Yosemite. And at the same time, let's just see if we can just get a couple of the current versions up. So I'm not going to bother with Copilot. Yeah, so you can get the current version of Doodle God, which I'll look at playing during a playthrough of Darren's Gaming Corner. But eventually I'm going to set them all up, get some old games, just to see what will run on the Mac systems and what won't. But the one thing I do want to look at is seeing if I can upgrade my older laptops. And if I can, should I? We shall find out. But let's just cross that bridge when we get there. Let's wait for that to sort itself out. Let's see if this will run. I've got 5 open programs, so I've got to be careful. It works. I'll come out of that for now. And then I'll just rename that to in the hope that it all fits. No, it doesn't. So I'll just have to name it that. Not a problem. And then that takes care of that. And then I'm going to try one more. Let me see what incompatible updates I might have. Because I might see if I can upgrade those. I might be able to update those. I've got no updates at all. But I'll see if there's any incompatible ones that I might be able to update once I upgrade to Sierra. See what happens with that. I was checking for updates at the moment. Just double checking to see if I'm recording. I am. Let me try that again. Donut County, but the problem with that is that it won't run on this one. I don't even think it'll run on Sierra either. Also, it's $12.99. So it's not really much of a point. Yes, it can run on. So yes, it can run on Sierra. Interestingly enough, and it can also run on Mavericks. Still not going to get it though. Dude got sorted. Let's see what Win on Next says. Yes, that requires El Capitan. The current version requires El Capitan or later, but you can download the last compatible version. Well, that will explain why I was able to download it straight away on the 2008 MacBook. Only after I upgraded it to El Cap. Let's see what this one says. Hopefully this will allow. Yeah, the current version requires. I'm actually going to leave that for a moment. That's the last version of Sierra 10.12.6, and we're just about to update. We're just about to upgrade to that, so we'll be able to download it straight away. But I'm going to download the chase though. So I've got a minute left on that. And then what I'm going to do at the same time while that's doing that is I'm going to go into Finder, do my transfers, and then set Sierra up. Because I've got two machines running High Sierra. That's my mid-2010 MacBook Pro and my 2009 iMac. I've got nothing running Sierra at the moment. And it will run on here, whereas it wouldn't on the last one. Well, it won't on the last one because the 2008 can only go up to El Capitan. But while that's sorting itself out, we've got less than a minute left on the chase. Just quickly go into applications and just wait for that to sort itself out. Now, El Capitan was the first version of the Mac system to include, also say to have the San Francisco font, and all the systems after that followed it. And it featured on all the other systems since that. That's gone up because it was less than a minute. Now it's gone up to just 1 minute. That takes care of that. Install macOS. I'm going to install this first, if it will. It did. And that will still work. And it does work. Certainly will on Sierra once I've uploaded it, once I've upgraded it. And that's just going to run a program just to see whether or not it can be installed. It should do. It should do. Let's click continue and install. And then something should come up at the, there it is. Install macOS Sierra. So I'm very excited to see this sort of stuff out. We've got 3 minutes left on that. So we're in a pack of scripts. And this was the first system, macOS Sierra, was the first system to be named macOS to match it with everything else, because we had iOS, tvOS, and we had another one as well, iPadOS, iPad OS wasn't around at the time because we were looking at iOS 8 when this one came out. So we had Mac OS, okay, it was OS 10. iOS, we had tvOS, and we had yeah, there was another one. But then they all became, that then became Mac OS to match everything else. Now still on 3 minutes. Look, oh, we're getting there. Just going to have a quick look to see what the other one was. I'm going to turn my phone right down as well. Um, there we go. That's done. WatchOS. Yeah, so we had iOS, WatchOS, and tvOS, whereas OS 10 was the odd one out. And that then became macOS with the launch of Sierra. Right, let's close this off. And then we'll close the App Store off as well. And then we'll install macOS Sierra. That's what it looks like. Of course, this is still showing Helvetica. Of course, I agree. And join me back in a bit, and I will give you an update as to what's going on. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And we've finally managed to upgrade this MacBook to macOS Sierra. I'm just installing some updates at the moment. And I've just had a look. And this allows you to update your software to the last compatible versions. And I think iTunes is getting an update. iMovie's getting updated, which will explain why I can't open it. So if I try and open it now, it says iMovie is being updated. Which is interesting because I can't see it. I'm going to install my distro media recovery. Because I should be able to do that now. If it will let me, that is. Well, I guess it's not going to let me yet, so join me back in a bit and I'll just do a restart of this computer. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And we're just going to go through each of my purchases just to see whether or not I can install them on macOS Sierra. The first thing I want to look at is Microsoft Office. Can I install an older version of it on to macOS Sierra? You couldn't on El Cap, but I'm hoping you can on Sierra. Comes a moment of truth. Just thinking about it. And then the rest I'd do off screen. It's taking a bit of time. But if I can, I'll do the rest of it off screen. Right, bear me one moment. Be a point where they require my password. Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. And I'm back. And look at this, guys. So if I now click install on Microsoft Word after typing in my password, I had to put in a verification code as well. You will then find it says the current version requires Ventura or later, but you can download the last compatible version. Which is good because I can now get rid of Office 2011. Or I was going to do it for me. It's going to upgrade it for me. That's good to know. So I don't have to do anything. That's interesting. So while I'm taking care of that, I'm actually just going to get rid of the number. Let's call it Microsoft Office. Couple of things that you need to make note of. Microsoft Messenger has stopped working. I think it's now deprecated. So I think it's gone away. So I think what I'm going to do after I've done all that is I'm just going to delete what's left over. So I'm either going to delete what's left over or I'm just going to do something else with it. But there's 6 minutes left on that. But that gives me OneNote as well. It's just good to know. Yeah, that gives me OneNote. So I'll put them in actual order. So I'll do Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. So I put them in the order as they appeared. So I always set my Office icons up as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote. Chances are I'm either going to keep them as they are, but put them in separately, or I'm going to just delete what's left over, update Microsoft Office, and delete what's left over. But also at the same time, you can upgrade, you can update other things, you can update to newer versions up to the last that's compatible. We're doing that with everything else. So that's taking care of Word. I've got to do Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Update those, and then install OneNote. And hopefully I might be able to do Teams. Where is Microsoft Teams? It's not on my purchases. Wonder if Parallels will let me do an older version of. Wonder if it'll let me do an older version of Parallels while I'm thinking about it. It might do, but it might do, but I'm not too sure. There's only one way to find out. Don't even think about making me type in my password again. Yes, you can. It requires the current version requires Monterey, but you can download the last compatible version. So we're up to 867 megabytes done on that. I'm just looking forward to seeing how that would pair with my Office from 2011. Well, we shall find out. Bearing in mind this is a 320 gigabyte hard drive. I've used 106 gigabytes already. Most likely because of GarageBand and Final and Logic Pro even. That's now installing. And that'll be done in about 2 minutes. There's one thing I do have to do off screen, and that's the updating of iMovie, because obviously I'm still using it. But join me back in a bit, and then what I'll do is I will save that as a screenshot and put it in my post, put it as a post as to what it looks like compared to my Office 2011 icons. Join me back in a bit. And I'm back. I just had to give you a bit of an update. So, what I found out with macOS Sierra is that while you are able to download Microsoft Office, it won't let you sign in, which therefore it would also prevent you from activating it as well, which doesn't bode too well if you want to edit documents on it. So in the end, I've had to revert back to the old version of Word that I had that was still installed. But then I had to reset my dock as well, which meant I had to reorganise all the icons that I had beforehand, just so I could put Word back onto the Launchpad. So it didn't bode too well at the end, but at least, sorry about that guys, at least I managed to get this upgraded to macOS Sierra. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.